All right, next is the selling and administrative expense budget. So here it says that at Royal Company, the SAG expense budget is divided into variable and fixed components. The variable SAG expense is 50 cents per unit sold. Fixed SAG expenses are $70,000 per month, and fixed SAG expenses include $10,000 in costs, mostly depreciation, that are not cash outflows of the current month. So here we have the budgeted unit sales for each month and for the whole quarter. So all we're going to do is plug in the variable selling and administrative cost per unit here, and we're going to multiply that by the unit sales for each month to find the total variable SAG expenses. So I'm just going to plug in 50 cents here, and 50 cents times 20,000 units is a $10,000 in total variable SAG expenses for April. And I'll do the same for May, for June, and then for the quarter. Okay, now the fixed SAG expenses, that's $70,000 per month. So $70,000 per month. So for April, the total variable SAG expenses was $10,000 plus the $70,000 of fixed SAG expenses. It gives us a total SAG expense amount for April of $80,000. I'm going to do the $70,000 for each month. And if it's $70,000 for each month, for the whole quarter, it's $210,000 of fixed SAG expenses because we're doing $70,000 times 3 for the 3 months. Now, it's important here, we've now found the total SAG expenses for each month and for the whole quarter. But then we also want to know, of each of these amounts, how much of it will require a cash disbursement. Now they tell us here that $10,000 of the $70,000 of monthly fixed SAG expenses represents non-cash costs, so things that don't require a cash outflow. So if we know the total SAG expense for April is $80,000, we need to subtract the $10,000 of non-cash costs to find out that, okay, of the 80, only 70,000 will require a cash disbursement, a cash outflow. We'll do the same for May, and then the same for June to find out how much cash we need to disperse in each of those months. But if we're looking at the quarter as a whole, of the $210,000 of fixed SAG expenses, that means $30,000 of that represents non-cash expenses or non-cash outflows. So 10, 10, and 10 is 30,000 here. So 30,000 of the $210,000 of fixed SAG expenses represents costs related to things like depreciation that don't require a payment of cash here. So the total cash disbursements for the entire quarter is $230,000, where the total SAG expenses is $260,000, and we have a breakdown here for each of these months separately. So that's basically how you set up a selling and administrative expense budget. Next, we'll put everything together to set up our cash budget.